Hey YouTube, it's your girl Lynn Say, aka Lynn RN, aka the Virgo Queen. Now we're going to be getting into this video today. So today I'm going to be spilling all the tea. Today I'm letting you guys know how I had multiple job offers before I even graduated nursing school. I'm not even lying to you guys. I had 5 job offers before I graduated from nursing school. I did not have CNA experience. Um, I did not have healthcare experience outside of clinicals and nursing school. I'm going to tell you guys how I was able to get 5 job offers before I graduated. I was the only person in my cohort that had this many job offers. I was the first person in my cohort to get any job offers, period. And I'm going to let you guys know how I did that. Okay, y'all. So one of the first things that I did, and I would have to definitely recommend it to everybody else, is apply early. Listen, you are getting a head start on the game. You think it's too early to apply? It's not too early to apply. Let me tell you. So I graduated in the fall semester. The semester started in August. I graduated in December. We couldn't take the NCLEX until end of January, early February. I was applying to jobs in September. Listen, this is what you need to do. I'm telling you. You apply to jobs early. I was applying to new grad nursing jobs in September, and I was hired well before I was ready to graduate, well before I passed the NCLEX, all that good stuff. Apply early. You get in there early, you look like you're a go-getter, they're going to hire you. That's what you need to do. Apply early, start early looking for those jobs. Apply to any and every job. When you're a new grad nurse, you might think you got an idea of what you want to do, but listen, there's so many different types of nursing out there. Don't X anything out. Apply to any and every opportunity that you think you would even remotely want to do. Don't just limit yourself to the hospital. There's inpatient, outpatient, there's so many things you can do. Apply everywhere. Listen, that's what I did. I'm trying to give you guys the tea. I'm trying to help you out how to be able to give you guys these multiple job offers. And when you have multiple job offers, you have all of the leverage, okay? You're not desperate. You can ask for more money. Okay, so now that you've applied early, you need to figure out how do you make your application stand out. One of the ways to make your application stand out is letters of recommendation. Some hospitals and other places you will apply will actually require a letter of recommendation, but places that don't, if you already have that, it's going to make you stand out from the other candidates. I had 3 letters of recommendations that I asked from nursing school professors that I had from like 3rd and 2nd semester. I got those right out the gates as soon as 4th semester started. I had those, they printed it out on the letterhead for me. I had those in the bag. Whenever I went to a job fair, whenever I applied for anything, I always attached that to my application and made me stand out above and beyond the other candidates, anything that you can do to make yourself stand out. Another way to make your application stand out is your resume. Okay, listen, I'm going to give you guys big T here with the resume. One of the things that especially with these big hospital systems, the number one thing you have to do when you're looking to apply for a job, read the job description. What they put in the job description, those catchwords, those words or those qualities of those candidates that they're looking for, those words need to be in your resume. Okay, sometimes when it's big hospital systems, there might not even be a person looking at your resume. They might have a computer system, and it's picking the best candidates based off of who matches the most of those like catchphrase words. Culturally competent, good interpersonal communication. If I'm applying for a job and those words are in the job description, you better believe those words are going to be in my resume, in my box where it says, my little spiel about me, might be under objectives, objective. I'm trying to get I'm just trying to get a job. But listen, while I'm in there, or I'm going to put it in my cover letter, and I'm talking about, okay, listen, I have great interpersonal communication skills. I am very culturally competent. My nursing professors and peers would describe me as such and such and such. Put those words in the job description into your resume. I'm giving you guys big T here. Listen, this is how you get picked for the interview. This is how they pick you out. This is what you need to do, okay? I'm telling you guys, the resume, it doesn't even have to be that fancy. Pick a resume off of Microsoft has those resumes they make for you. Use one of those. It doesn't have to be fancy, but if you are going to a job fair where you're handing out resumes to people, I would pick one of the fancier templates because that will make you stand out. You know, you're handing out a fancier resume. It doesn't just it looks like you put a lot of time and effort into it. Listen, I went to job fairs. I was handing out cover letter, resume, 2 letters of recommendation to every single person. And it was a different resume than I was using to apply online. It had the same information, but it was a fancier template, okay? Because I wanted to grab their attention. At a job fair, that's what you need to do. Now, I know some of you are saying, but Lynn RN, what do I put in my resume? You know, we're all new grad nurses. We haven't even graduated nursing school yet. We don't have any nursing experience to put on the resume. Listen, they know, these jobs know that. You put your clinical experiences on your resume. That's what I did. Again, it passes the computer system trying to match up things. You know, sometimes the job descriptions will be like, you have to have IV experience, EKG, blah, blah, blah. Listen, put your clinical experience in your resume. For under skills and abilities section of my resume, I always put my clinical experience. Listen, I know I can do this stuff. I did it in clinical, and they know that this is from clinical because they know that you're not an actual nurse on the floor. That's why, hence you're applying for a new grad position. Monitoring vital signs. Everybody does that in clinical. Administering IV, PO, sub-Q, IM medications. Okay, I know everybody's clinical is set up a little bit differently. In some states, the students aren't actually allowed to do things like IVs and IM injections and things like that in clinical. And if not, just, you know, put what you did do in clinical. But if you're in those states like me where you can actually do those things in clinicals, put that in. If you dropped an NG tube, put that into your resume. If you're experienced with Foley insertions, you can do EKGs, you can do ventilator sectioning and things like that. Put that into your resume. It's going to help you stand out and say, listen, I have clinical experience in all of these. Listen, I went to the OR. I shout out the circulating nurse. Put that in your resume. I was on the psych unit. I was on the ER unit. I was on the labor and delivery unit. Put that all on your resume. Listen, you have more to offer than you think. I got a little story for you guys, okay? So I didn't really want to even go to this job fair. It was at a small community hospital. I was really tired. I just got home from clinical. Mom was like, just go, just go. I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and go. So I'm like the last person there, you know, they're wrapping up. So the job fair was set up to where you're supposed to pick your top 3 units you wanted to go to, and you would sit down and talk to the nursing director and like clinical assistant for each unit. I was the last person there. Everybody else was gone. All of the nursing directors and clinical assistants were still there. Somehow I got skipped around and they never asked me my top 3 units. So I walk into this room with every nursing director and clinical assistant for the whole hospital. It's about 24 people in this room. Okay. And they're like, somebody jokingly says, well, do you just want to interview with all of us? And I'm like, sure, let's go for it. I grab a chair, sit it in the middle of the room, and they go around each 24 people, okay, nursing directors and clinical assistants for every unit in this hospital, ask me questions, and I'm knocking them out. And listen, I'm stone-faced, I'm nervous as hell, but I am not letting it show, okay? I hand each of them my resume. I tell them, you know, I really love to work here, and can I tell you that every single unit in that hospital wanted to hire me. I got to choose which unit. I ended up working at that hospital, and I ended up I was able to choose which unit I wanted to go to because every single unit wanted to hire me because they're like, we want a nurse like that with balls like that who is willing to go and sit in front of 24 people in this hospital and have an interview with confidence and not be nervous. Exactly. That's, you know, you have to do stuff like that to stand out. And even after I started working, I was working on the unit for 6 months, and at every staff meeting, the nursing director told that story about me to the rest of the staff. Like, listen, this girl has balls. I'm telling y'all. Do things like that to make you stand out. Don't be afraid. Listen, it's not as bad as you think it will be. Another tip that I have for you guys is when you're applying to jobs, even if it's for different specialties, like maybe you're applying to ER and the OR, listen, you don't have to change your resume up, just change your cover letter. It will save you a lot of time, and you'll change your cover letter to be catered more towards how you want to work in the OR or how you want to work in the ER. Okay, so now you did it. You know, you got selected to do an interview. Okay, so you go in person, do your in-person interview, and now how do you get to the next part? What kinds of questions are they going to ask you in the interview? Listen, you're still, you're applying for a new grad position. They're not really going to ask you clinical questions. For the most part, they're going to ask you typical interview questions. So just some examples of things that are definitely 100% going to ask you. What would you say your weakest nursing attribute is? Or what would you say your weakest quality is, things you have to work on? Now, the answer that I always give 150% of the time is delegation. Okay, listen, don't say perfectionist. It's a cliche, everybody says it. Delegation. I say delegation because listen, I just want to do everything myself. It's so hard for me to delegate to other people, even when I get busy, because I want everything to be perfect. I want to do it myself so I know it's getting done the right way. This shows, I'm a hard worker. I'm not trying to push my work off on other people. And as a new grad nurse, no new grad nurse is great at delegation. That's a given. They already know you're not good at delegation. It's just something that comes with experience and with time. So that's a great kind of like a great way to get out of that answer if I were feeling like, well, my biggest flaw is that I'm late all the damn time. Don't say something. Listen, don't tell them, don't let them see the real you just yet. Okay. Say, delegation. I'm just not the best at delegation at this point, One thing that I 1000% would bet $1 million that they are going to ask you in the interview at the end is, do you have any questions for us? The worst thing you can do is not have any questions for them. Please, 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 please have a question for them. If I don't have anything off the top of my head that I actually have a genuine question for them on, I have a go-to question that I always say, and it 1000% always impresses them when I ask it. Get ready, get your pen and paper down if you're getting ready to go for an interview. So I always, 1000% of the time, ask them, what does your ideal new grad nurse candidate look like? What qualities do they have? And then they go and they list off all these qualities: organization, communication, adaptability, whatever they say, I'm taking mental notes in my head. And then once they finish your answer, I'm going back, well, listen, I think that I do have all of those qualities, and let me go through each one and explain to you why. They love that. They love that stuff. They love it. Okay, I'm telling you guys, they love it. I guarantee you will get the job. I guarantee it. Everything that we learned in this video today. Apply early. Okay, I graduated in December. I was applying by September. Have those letters of recommendation ready for when you're creating your resume. You can kind of cater it to whichever job you're applying to, in that whatever's in the job description or qualities for a candidate they're looking for, you take that section and put that in your resume somewhere. Make sure to include things you did in skills you did in clinical, include that in your resume as well. You can reuse the same resume over and over with those tweaks with the job description, and just change your cover letter if you're applying for like an ER and an OR job. Just change your cover letter so you're not recreating your resume 1,000 times when you're applying to so many jobs when you're a new grad nurse. Arrive early to your interviews. Go to those job fairs. Dress professionally. Make sure you ask a question at the end of the interview. They're going to ask you if you have any questions. Make sure you ask those questions. Pre-plan ahead what you're going to say for greatest weakness, greatest strength, because they're definitely going to ask you that. Don't volunteer up your personal life, your family life. Keep it very professional. And if you have the opportunity to shadow, make the most of it. And don't ask questions that could jeopardize your chances of getting the job there. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe as always.